Hi, my name is David Diley with the Wolcott Group. I will be doing a presentation and a demo on the Automatic Deployment Toolkit known as ADT. During the demo, I will be upgrading a Lotus Notes 7 client to a Lotus Notes 8.53 client, which is at this point the latest release. During the upgrade process, there are many other processes that need to occur around the actual installation of the new Lotus Notes client software. These processes help ensure a successful upgrade project and will have as little disruption to the user as possible. Of course, the center of the upgrade is the actual installation and configuration of the Lotus Notes client software. But prior to the installation, we must first determine if the user's PC can handle the new software. This is the discovery phase of the upgrade process. We need to know information about the PC, such as the OS being used, what is the processor speed of the machine, how much memory is on the machine. We want to have a positive experience for the user when they first launch the new version of Lotus Notes. Another thing we may want to know is how the Notes client software is configured. Is it configured as a multi-user client or a single-user client? How was the client installed? Was it installed with the all users or all clients software? Are the registry entries correct? After determining the user's PC can handle the new software and the Notes client is configured correctly, the user should be exposed to some type of training on the new software. This should be done as closely to the new client installation as possible. Users may forget their training if it is too early, or the user may lose the email that may contain the training PDFs that was sent out. The next step of the installation would be the installation and configuration of the Lotus Notes software. This should be done with as little pain to the user as possible. They should not have to answer any prompts during the installation of things they may not actually know, such as their home mail server. This should also be done by giving the user a little leeway on when to start the upgrade. There is nothing worse than trying to open up your email or calendar right before a meeting and not having access to your Lotus Notes. Soon after the installation, the user mail template should be upgraded to give the user the new Notes 853 email experience. For a successful upgrade project, this process needs to be well coordinated and managed for all users. This can be done with a system that tracks each user's progress and reports their overall progress of the upgrade process. This reporting process will help the help desk support the users that may have issues during the upgrade process. The system should provide the help desk personnel with extensive logging of all upgrade events. Of course, one of the most important aspects of any successful project is communication. The user should be completely aware of what to expect during each step of the upgrade process. I've given you a brief overview of the upgrade process, and now I'm going to give you a brief demonstration how ADT conforms to that process. ADT consists of two main databases, the main ADT database and the ADT agent log database. Also, there are several optional ADT databases, such as the ADT staging database, which assists in registering users into the ADT database. After opening ADT, the first screen that you will see is the ADT dashboard. This dashboard will display the different statuses the user will run throughout the upgrade process. The order and the process steps themselves are configurable in ADT. Within this dashboard, you'll see the number of users and also the percentage of where the users are throughout the process, and to give you a brief overview of the whole upgrade process. project. The first step for a user in the ADT process is to get registered into the ADT database. To do this, I go to Actions, Registration, and for this demo I will register the user from the organization's name and address book, although there are many other options to register people into the ADT database. I choose the users, which I could choose many, or I could just choose one. I'm going to choose one, answer the prompt. I then check from the user options that I have set up. The user options are the configurations that a user or a group of users will be assigned to, so ADT can configure the client correctly, and other options. At this time, updating the dashboard, you'll see that the user has moved into the start position. At this time, scheduled agents will push the user and send out different messages to the user automatically. At this time, the user will flow through all the way to the done status. ADT has now sent the survey message to the user. You'll see that the person is now have moved from the start position into the survey sent status. We can verify this by opening up the survey stat, and we can verify and see the user in that status. I will now switch over to my Lotus Notes 7, and the user has their email open, and you'll see the first message that came to them was a process registration email. When the user was first registered into ADT, they received this message, and this message is an example of a message that will go to the user to explain the full process of the upgrade. The second message is the discovery message. Opening this up, and you'll see the user has one button to push. They press this button, it launches the survey. It is now sending a message back to the ADT database. If the user wants to, they can open up and view the results of the survey. But at this time, the message has already gone back to ADT. Some of the information that's contained, it's the operating system, the drives, how much space is left, memory, how much memory is being used, network information and network cards, the processor on this machine, the BIOS information on this machine, environment variables, applications that are running on this machine, what mail clients are on this machine, the version of IE, etc., and some notes information on the install and the path, and this comes from the notes registry information. Switching back to ADT, we could see that ADT has processed that server or that survey message, and the user has moved to the survey completed status. You can open up the survey completed and see that user. Opening up the user, we could see that the information has been placed into ADT that came from the survey and is now in the user's document inside of ADT. ADT had detected that the survey was completed successfully and the user can move on, and the user's PC has enough capacity to run the new client. So ADT would automatically send the user the training message. The ADT then placed the user into training completed because ADT is configured to not wait for the user to actually do the training, but it can be. ADT can be set to wait for a user to attend a class, etc. At this time, ADT, the next step will be ADT will send the user a client install message. Switching back to my Lotus Note 7 client, you can see that the user has received the training message and the user has received the client installation message. Opening up the client installation message, the user sees a button similar to the survey message. Clicking on this button will launch the ADT installation. ADT prompts the user to close the Lotus Notes client. And now ADT gives them the option of canceling the installation at time, but they press the install button. ADT is now installing the Lotus Notes client. Switching back to my ADT client, I'll notice that the user has been placed into client install started. This message came back when the user clicked on the install button. This is to help the ADT administrator monitor installations. If a user has been in the client install started status for too long, then you know the user's had a problem and the client installation has not completed. So the help desk may proactively call the user and check on the status of the installation. After about 15 minutes, ADT will report to the user that the installation has completed successfully. At this time, the user can launch the new Lotus Notes client. ADT has sent a message back to the ADT database to report that the user had completed the installation successfully. If the user had failed, the user would have fallen into one of these categories, such as client install failure. At this time, ADT will then upgrade the user's mail file in the background, usually scheduled to run overnight as to not tax the Domino mail servers. At this time, the user will then be placed into the done status after the mail file had been successfully upgraded. Thank you.